There's no right or wrong answer to it. I think it totally depends on what where do you see your child in the upcoming future. Me as a mother also, I would any day prefer, a CBSE board over an IB board. So message to parents, I would definitely say spend as much time as you can with with your child. Feel what will I do with those marks if I'm not able to apply my understanding into real life.
Hello, ma'am. Welcome to Principal Voice Matters.
Hello, ma'am. Thank you so much.
So, today, before starting, like in today's world, we know education is not just about marks, textbook, or exam. It's about mind, body, emotions, or the mindset. You can say mindset, or that, what we can say is the holistic education as compared to the academic educations. So to discuss this, we are delighted, like a warm welcome to our guest today, who is the headmistress at Manav Rachna School, Faridabad. So welcome, ma'am, once again to Principal Voice Matter, and thank you so much for joining this.
Thank you so much. Thank you for calling.
So before we starting the actual topic, holistic education, would love to understand, ma'am, before. I would love to begin with your journey. Was there any moment in your career where you realized that education is much more about practical learning, or it is much more about, more than the academic results? So what happened in that situation, and what changes, that you came into the education?
So see, if I talk about myself, I have been in the field of education for over a decade now. My journey started from Teach for India as a fellow, and then of course I moved into the role of a mathematics teacher, and I really worked as a teacher for a couple of years, which helped me develop more understanding and a deeper understanding of classroom practices and student learning. And as my career progressed, of course, I took on the leadership responsibilities, again starting as an academic coordinator, and today I serve as the headmistress. So over the years, I've worked with both CBSE and the IB frameworks. And like you talked about, certain moments wherein I feel how, education has evolved. Whether it was Teach for India or, either of the schools I worked with, when you work with children, you realize, children have evolved over the years. And of course, it will happen, because if you look into the technology part, the AI coming into picture, so things are changing, things are evolving, and likewise, our learners are also evolving. So definitely there have been a lot of moments wherein, you realize that now teaching is not just about imparting knowledge, it is more about being mentors, being coaches to the students. So yes, that is how it has been.
As you know, you are engineer from the background. So I think it is, easy for you as compared to the other in today's world to monitor, how students, if we talk about AI, if we talk about the practical spaces like, STEM lab or robotics lab. So if let's suppose some of the pain point, and the major pain point I can say from lots of schools, that how to monitor the performance, whether they are teaching in the right framework or not. For example, if we talk about robotics, but for you, when the leaders are from the technical background itself, I think it is little bit easy for you to understand whether it is going into the right direction or not. So want to know your opinion.
See, there are now two perspectives to it, So first I would talk about, say, like you said, about robotics and all. So I would term it as like a makerspace, and which is something very, very close to my heart. So like you said, being an engineer, though, life molded and I became an educator, but I think makerspace is something which is very, very close to my heart. Because I feel it's the most powerful, way to prepare children for the future. Because, when it comes to maker space, the learning shifts. The learning shifts from tell me the answer to let me discover the answer. And to give you an example, we recently had one of our themes as building bridges. So instead of simply asking, our students to build a bridge, we presented them, with a real world challenge. So the challenge was like, a village is separated from its school by a river. So during the rainy season, now children are not able to, cross safely. So can you design a bridge that helps them reach school safely? Now, when you give such a problem statement to the child and you ask them to design their bridge, the, shift focuses from making a model to solving, a meaningful problem. And there's a lot of thinking involved in it. Just through one challenge, you're able to let the students know that it's not just about building a bridge, it's also about connecting, two pieces of land, connecting people, communities, culture. So I think that is something which is really, necessary in today's time, because that's how you develop various skills of the children, whether it's thinking, critical thinking skills, research skills, like creativity also comes into picture. Collaboration also comes because students work together onto it. Now, the second part, like you mentioned, was about technology, right? Like, how do we analyze the data and all? I think with AI coming into picture, it has really helped teachers a lot. Teachers save their time. You can quickly, so the data that you have, you can quickly ask AI to analyze the data and it helps you. Of course, there's a lot of, again, thinking involved in terms of giving the prompts, but I feel it helps you analyze the data quickly. And of course, comparatively, it can also give you a graph. So you can design graphs, any sort of graph you want to do. So I think AI has helped us in, analyzing the student data.
Yeah. And ma'am, one more thing, that this in the robotics also, but one of the very positive sign I can say is here the students were not, academic in the academics they are not the very good performer, but here they can perform very well. Can you share any of these student story like impressed you and where you found it that marks alone doesn't define the success? It can be anything.
Any day. So, like you said, in the beginning also we talked about the holistic, student development. Like you said, I often, compare students with the seed. Now, when the seed has to convert into a plant, you just don't need water. You need everything, like you need air, sunlight, each and everything is required. Likewise, when we talk about students, they just don't need academics. They need everything else, for their, holistic development. It is, of course, we don't basically nurture, just in terms of academics, we nurture the whole child. So we nurture their mind, their heart, their hands, everything. To give you an example, like I just talked about one of the examples of building bridges. So again, that is something that we've done in school. So during one of our events, we took this as a theme and we, made sure that, and this was given to a grade 1 and 2, group basically. So imagine now they are collaborating, they are trying to identify a problem. So the first thing I remember what they did was, so there was a problem statement, they first made a sketch of it, because to also understand what are we actually talking about, like drawing a river, being school on one of the sides, being because of rains, they're not able to cross and all. So I think, and that helped them come up with the fact that, my bridge needs to be strong also, because then there's so many people who are passing by. It has to be wider also, because again, you need a lot of space. So I think that's the kind of holistic development, we want to build in the children through inquiry-based, through project-based learning, like you said, maker spaces, whereas the reading programs, sports, visual, everything comes into picture. So yeah, I mean, I feel when a child, leads, that's when, the real learning happens.
Yes, ma'am. Sure. And ma'am, you were talking about that you have the experience of CBSE, IB, both the boards. So can you, from the parents' perspective, can you tell us the difference? Like, what actually is the difference between IB and
See, if I talk about that's a very favorite question of the parents, because when it comes to admissions, a lot of parents, they are mostly confused, right? Yes. Now, see, there's no right or wrong answer to it. I think it totally depends on what where do you see your child in the upcoming future. So if we talk about, the new education policy, the progressive CBSE schools which are there, which are, actually following the new education policy, then I think it is somewhat aligned with, the IB framework which is there, because now the focus is again shift from, rote memorization to competency-based assessments. The focus has shifted from, basically the conceptual knowledge to skill-based education. So that has of course, been a part of the CBSE as well, if you look at it. Teaching learning, of course, is something different, grooming. And again, I think this is also coming from the CBSE now, that you need to train your teachers, you need to do a lot of workshops. so that they're aligned with the new philosophy of, the CBSE. But having said that, of course, I feel IB is very different from, CBSE, framework. IB includes a lot of inquiry into it, and of course, the teachers are very well versed and trained for it. I would say the progressive CBSE schools are now following, a similar path, keeping the cultural roots in mind. So if you talk about me as a mother also, I would any day prefer, a CBSE board over an IB board. But again, it is very, it depends on the parents' perspective. Where do they see their child, in the future? So if it's more of research, if it's more of, say probably you just want your child to probably settle abroad, so then of course IB is a place. CBSE of course opens a lot of opportunities. It has somewhat research in it, but as compared to IB, that is still not there. So,
but right now we are talking about new education policy or design and thinking also, which was
right,
the core topic from IB. But now we are introducing in as a part of our every academic subjects also. So, what do you think? Over the year, it's a kind of similar framework we are going to follow, or what?
Absolutely. See, the framework would be similar. Like I said, there'll be one difference. CBSE is very well rooted, in the Indian culture and ethos. That is something that even the new education policy has, ensured, and that's a good thing also. Like being an Indian, I think we should know various, things and cultures related to our own country. But like you said, the framework, in say upcoming maybe 5 years, 10 years, depending on how fast the schools adapted, how fast the schools, work with their teachers and their team, I think that will define. So I can't really give you a timeline, but definitely in near future, you can say there'll be somewhat similar.
Okay.
Yes, so that I guess you answered my question as well. Being a parent, sometimes it's the confusion, like which board is better and what culture students or you can say the kids are going to get. But I guess now it is CBSE is also following that kind of framework and that kind of you can say culture or the environment we are trying to create. Of course, right now the implementations will take, but if we talk about the progressive CBSE schools, they already in the process and they started a lots of things. And what about the teachers? Because teachers used to be, when we are talking about, the complete mindset change we are talking about, right? So and teacher are the core part who can bring the changes, who can bring that changes. So what about the teachers and how they'll be aligned to those things? Because they used to, in that pattern that okay, now the board exams are there and then they need to prepare the students. So again, and even sometimes if I talk about some areas where the parents are also focused about why not 95%, why not 99%, still talk about marks, and we need to focus on that part as well. So what are your perspective on that?
See, for teachers, of course, their role has evolved tremendously over the years, right? With new education policy coming in, now we don't see teachers just as primary source of knowledge, because like from the time we've had Google to now AI, everything is available, at our fingertips. So a teacher is no longer someone who provides the answers, but a teacher has to be someone, who inspires that curiosity among children to learn, who encourages that critical thinking in the classroom and, helps students take risks. So, to me, if I talk about a great teacher, is a facilitator, like I said before, also a mentor, a coach, and most importantly, a lifelong learner, because, and we can very well see, teachers are learning, right, with new things coming up. To give you an example, like I said, a teacher has to be a coach, right? When a child struggles with a problem, we generally tend to give answers. But now in today's time, an effective teacher is not someone who provides the answer, but, who asks the right question. She nudges the child to think differently and empowers them to discover the solution independently. So I should be able to come up with my own solution, and my teacher is a guide and a coach who asks so many questions that I realize, oh, this is something probably, I was missing out on. So she doesn't have to give the right answer. So I feel, yes, their role is evolving. There's a lot of, need of training the teachers, but I'm sure we'll be there, and they'll
Yeah,
And I
because
see that happening in a lot of schools.
because what I can see, as you can relate it, very well, because you are from engineering background. Right now we are talking about in the maker spaces woodcraft, or we talk about electronics, we talk about this automobile, or you can say automotive,
Right.
or these different it's a combination of different sectors. But
Right.
when we were doing the engineering, so it was the different lab for the different departments. Say in the automotive, or the automobile lab was for the mechanical department, then electronics or these IoT lab were for the electronics department, and similarly then EV sector was a combination of mechanical and electrical. So now these things are starting from the school, you can say from third onwards, or from first class onwards, we are trying to, so that mindset will be there. Even in the starting, when we were talking about this ATL lab or the robotics lab, if we talk about, if we go about, previous 10 years, so it was about from the sixth grade. But now, if we talk about the school, from first grade onwards, we are starting. So there is not right age, and before it was engineering. So it is, and even we can see, even I have seen in many of the national, international competitions. So we cannot, just these kind of things, whether the child is doing engineering or whether he is in class 9th or in class, 4th or 5th. Sometimes even the class 4th and 5th, they understand the concept very well and they implement those things very well. So it's not about those particular things. But in engineering, also, we have seen that lots of faculty development program they need to do, being from the practical background. But if we talk about the school teachers, they are not from the technical background, because that was not the need for the, CBSE or like it. Mostly we were talking about B.Ed or M.Ed. But now things are demanding about the technical skills as well. And if someone in the engineering also need that upgradations or that faculty development program, then in the school I'm not able to see such kind of things right now. There are capacity building programs, there are these kind of training for the teachers, but there is no right framework, or you can say I'm not able to see maximum of technical training or special technical training for the teachers. Just want to know your opinion on it.
See, if we talk about technical training in terms of engineering, if you talk about, someone who's responsible for ensuring makerspace implementation, of course.
More about, the technology. Will not go with like the, subject based or the lab based. It's more about the technology, because right now we are moving too fast in the technology. We even don't know whether after 10 years the same kind of, mindset or same kind of job, whether these will exist or not. So we are preparing the students for that future, which even we don't know whether these things will exist or not, because AI is that fast forward. So from that point of view, I want to understand.
See, in terms of providing those trainings to the teacher, I think the schools are now, if I talk about my school in particular, of course we do train teachers in terms of ensuring technology into the classrooms, because that is again the need of the hour, right? You talk about integration of so many technical tools. Like I've been a math teacher, so using Math Playground, using quizzes, using Kahoot and quizzes, I think everybody uses. But then specific to math, say Math Playground is another platform that I have used. Then there's a gameplay that we've used. So when it comes to technology, of course, we are empowering our teachers. A lot of schools are empowering their teachers to actually use technology into the classrooms. Certain, technological tools will be subject specific. Certain, are general. So if you talk about teachers entering into the classroom now, they can't enter a classroom without having a session plan. They need to have a proper detailed, you can say a lesson plan or a session plan. Again, that is documented. So I think technology is any which way there. And like we discussed before also, now with AI coming in, you talked about the student survey, analysis, student data analysis basically, or their scores analysis. So all of those trainings, I think now schools have started giving, because you can't survive without, your teachers not being able to do all of that, because that is required, So like if I talk about my school again, we do a lot of personalized learning in our school. So personalized learning is like, the children learn as per their strengths and weaknesses. So they learn as per their choices. So students are given voice and choice in that case. Now, when we talk about personalized learning, you need to, analyze each and every child's data so as to understand what are their gaps. Where is it that, you need to help them bridge the gap? So for that, again, I think they need to use that technology. And you very well, you're right as well. A lot of schools, I would say many schools are still not using it. But I think we now need to empower the teachers to use the technology in the right way.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for answering that. And with the same, going to the question that we are talking about AI. And even that is as per the CBSE, that is a part of our academics also.
Right.
So I have that syllabus and that practical. But in many schools, I can say the practices are like teacher, they are teaching the students from the books. We're not using computer. We are not using that practical learning. So how we cannot understand Python, we cannot understand AI with the books. But they are talking about, no, for the board exams, it's like from the book only you need to teach. So what are your point of view of that?
See, I feel there has to be a balanced approach, like I said. I'm not saying you don't teach from book. Again, it's a very teacher-specific thing. But I feel, what will I do with those marks if I'm not able to apply my understanding into real life? So if I may have learned a couple of codes and scored, say, 90 out of 100 or maybe 100 out of 100. But when it comes to, say, designing a website, say, designing any product, again, that's where I'm completely blank because I have not really understood the concept. My teacher has just, asked me to, again, do rote memorization of this and that just to score, just to, for her also, it's like my students have scored, good marks. So I think, again, that shift has to happen in the mindset of the teacher. So when we talk about trainings, again, there are various pedagogical training, but there are trainings which are also generic. So one could be on growth mindset. So teachers also need to understand that as per the time, has changed, they also need to evolve in terms of their teaching, because eventually we have to create learners who create jobs rather than seek jobs. Also, like if I talk about today, if you talk about our time, engineering, doctor, I remember my parents telling me either you have to be an engineer or you have to be a doctor. Teaching was also not a part of it. But now I see there are so many designers, so many musicians, so there are various fields that are there. So many dances, even dance, music and, drama and everything is promoted. And 10 years, 15 years down the lane, we'll also be surprised that now there are many more new jobs coming in, new, spaces which are being created. So I think that shift needs to happen and we only have to, make it happen. We need to empower the team. So I think the principals, the HMs play a very important role there. And
even those ITI, basically, those has been, I guess, vanished these days. But again, we are talking about those skills, carpentry or these kind of skills. These were in the ITI itself. So now again, we are talking about, because those skills are also important. That's what, children will learn about these problem solving, all those things, or creative. At least they will learn how to think.
You're right.
That is the main we are talking about. So now moving to the last question, ma'am. If, imagine a parent or a teacher both watching this conversation today. So what is the one thing you wish both would start doing differently for the benefit of our children in terms of holistic education?
So you're talking about the parents and the teachers?
Parents and the teacher, because parents are the first teachers. What they can start from their home, so that will be the message for the parents. And similarly, when the child is in the school, so one message for the teacher.
So message to parents, I would definitely say spend as much time as you can with the, with your child. Be a partner in your child's learning. So, and see, again, parents and teachers, they both are very important stakeholders. The moment they work hand in hand, the moment they join their hands, you'll see a magic happening in the child's learning journey, because once, they are partners, like I said, miracles happen. So a simple message to parents looking at their busy schedule these days, because I think both the parents in most of the cases are working. I would just give one message that, spend more and more time with your child, avoid a lot of screen time with your child, to be very honest, and be a partner in their, learning journey. Be a mentor, be a coach to them. Of course, there's a very thin line between being a friend and a parent. I'm not asking you to cross that, but then yes, you have to be a coach. Likewise to teachers, I feel, like I said, teachers need to partner with parents. A strong partnership needs to happen between the two stakeholders, along with, of course, the school as a whole. And to teachers, I would just say that, I know it's not easy, but because we have stepped into it as an educator, we play a very important role. We can either make or break a child. So for teachers, I would just say that, your vision should always be to make a child and ensure that, learning happens in the right way.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And once again, thank you so much, Ritu ma'am, for sharing your experience, insights, and vision with us today. So what stands out from this conversation today is that it is not about, preparing students for much. Once again, ma'am, checking out your let you later for us for the principal voice matters. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ruby ma'am, for calling me here. I think it was a great interaction that I had with you. And like you said, I really feel that, we educators create good human beings, good global citizens, who can really take our country ahead and who can really become the lifelong learners. So thank you so much again. Thank you so much once again for calling me here. Thank you. Thank you. Looking forward to more such interactions. Yeah. Thank you so much.
So